the lead writer for the Denver Broncos on Mile High Sports, Cody Roark. Cody, thanks for joining us. Appreciate it.
Yeah, thanks for having me. Obviously, Broncos camp, the haze is gone a little bit, so that's nice.
Do you mean the weather or just like the haze over the fan base?
Ooh, that's a good point.
I mean, let's cut right to the chase here. Let's get right to it here this morning as we go with this camp, because there's a good, you can't see it, and we're not allowed to show it on the camera, by the way, because there's weird rules about what we can and can't show, but there's a good amount of fans, Cody. There's a good amount of fans on the berm.
All of the tickets, of course, they're free, but all of the tickets were used.
Yes.
So
it still doesn't feel
sellout,
like
free, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, do you call it a sell? I feel like when Peyton Manning was here, obviously it was different. It's always going to be different when you have somebody like PFM here. But your initial reaction, Cody, here on the official day one, screw the acclimation stuff that he was talking about. Let's talk about day one. Tell me what you have seen so far in the first 60 minutes of practice.
Yeah, I mean, I think there's a lot more energy here. I think the players get a little more energized when the fans are here. I mean, when we are able to attend the acclimation without fans, I mean, it's a little more laid back, nonchalant, but I feel like you have young guys, you have vets who have stuff to prove, and, you get energized a little bit. I remember as a player just being on the field, and anytime we had a large crowd, I always wanted to be better. I always wanted to come out and play better, practice better, whatever it may be. And I think that's the vibe here. You get it. Obviously, a multitude of different position battles that are ongoing right now across the board. I feel like there's more open competition now with this team than there has been maybe in the last 5 or 6 years. So I think it's something we should definitely keep an eye on, but the energy is definitely bigger.
And that's going to happen after 7 consecutive losing seasons. So there is a weird sort of dichotomy here. Fans are excited. They always are during Broncos season, but there is now sort of an attitude of show me. And that starts with Bo Nix. So let's go there first and foremost. And if you've listened to this show regularly, you understand that I've been telling you constantly, stop with the quarterback competition. There is no quarterback competition. The Denver Broncos starter is Bo Nix, unless he is either unhealthy or has been completely the wrong guy. And when you picked a guy as high as he did, that's a mistake. So in other words, let's put up the competition. How has Bo Nix looked on his way to claiming QB1 in the early going, whether it's OTAs, the acclimation periods, or day one of practice?
Well, I'd say Bo's done a really good job of picking up the offense. We haven't seen them really open things up too much, like they're going back to install. It's one thing Sean Payton told us earlier this week. They're going back to the install they did first off when they came in for OTAs, the offseason period, and they're going to revisit that from time to time. But, I mean, when you talk about him getting the ball, getting the snap, being able to process what coverage the defense is, delivering the throw on time. I think that's probably the biggest thing we've seen with Bo. And Jarrett Stidham's done the same exact thing. Zach Wilson hasn't done the same thing in that regard. But I'd say between these two guys, and specifically with Bo, there is no hesitation from him. There is no double clutching. There is no going to separate the ball and then bringing it back because your read's not there. He has confidence in his delivery. And I think he's got confidence in his teammates that are running the right stuff. That's one thing I noticed about Bo, but I'm not surprised. Bo's got 61 college career starts. He's experienced. He's been in an offense very similar to what Shawn wants to run. So I think there's a level of comfort for him going in, even though he's learning some new terminology. But I think one thing we do want to see, we want to see them open up the playbook a little bit more, not necessarily the short field passes, but I want to see them consistently downfield. Not say we did see one pass from Bo yesterday in practice. It wasn't sharp for the QBs throwing downfield. He had Troy Franklin wide open, overshot him by a yard or two. He had a step on Pat Surtain in that regard there. But there are things about Bo's game I think you're going to see more comfort coming his way.
When you try to make the transition between what he was doing in Eugene for the University of Oregon and coming here, you already talked about kind of the similarities within the offense. But is there one thing in particular, Cody, that is a major adjustment for Nix compared to what he had at the University of Oregon? Is there anything major outside of just the speed of the game, which you're not going to know until you're actually, on the field and you're playing against some of these NFL talents? But is there something particular that you know from watching him, watching his film, watching the games when he was at Oregon, compared to what you believe Sean Payton's going to do? Is there one thing that he is going to have to work on a transition on?
That's a great question. So far, I mean, I see him operating everything kind of similar way he did in Eugene. I think the only difference from an elemental standpoint, I mean, Nate, you've been to Oregon, you've been on the coast, you've been in Eugene. It's Pacific.
that town.
There's no.
Don't ask Nate about Oregon.
Well, you're a Corvallis guy.
I'm a
I wouldn't
Corvallis guy.
expect
You know this.
anything.
You know this. It pained me when they drafted him, and then the best part was, real quick before you get back to it. My favorite part was I had family and friends that were like, "Oh God, you're going to lose your bleep, aren't you?" And I said, No. I said the moment they leave campus, I'm okay with it, right? Like I'm a Justin Herbert guy. Like I like watching Justin play. It was while you're in Eugene, I want to punch you in the face.
Yeah.
Once you leave, it's okay.
No, I love Eugene though, but like the altitude, like his ball, like a lot of people said, well, he doesn't have the arm strength. I haven't seen an issue with his arm strength whatsoever. Looking at Oregon, what they had him do with Will Stein, like it's a true West Coast offense. It's a 3-level throwing system. You're going to get the flats. You're going to get the short to intermediate. You're going to get the deep ball there, but it's methodical in how they attack it. And I think that translates well to what we're talking about here with Sean Payton. You're going to see the quick passing game, but then you're going to open it up to, I think, the deep stuff. You're going to take the shots. So I think it's maybe an adjustment for him on learning how do I tone my touch at altitude, at air, because the ball, I mean, arm talent has not been an issue for him whatsoever.
And let me follow up real quick on that that you just brought up, Cody. I am of the I guess I'm of the group. I think we talk way too much about arm strength for NFL quarterbacks.
Yes.
I think we do it way too much.
Yeah.
Is it something that is of value? Yes. But if you're a fan, you're watching us right now, or you're thinking about, I don't care. Pick a quarterback. I don't care if you want to talk about Aaron Rodgers, you want to talk about Mahomes, you want to talk about Breeze, I don't care. Pick a quarterback and tell me how many times in a game that is actually some sort of major factor, right?
Yeah.
Beyond that, I want somebody that knows how to do the reads. I want somebody that knows how to be able to adjust to when they see something change right before the snap. That's what I don't give a damn whether you can throw it 30 yards in the air or 75 yards in the air, because the number of times that being able to be that far downfield is a true factor. No. Give me a break.
No, yeah. I mean, in Denver too, like Russ could throw the deep ball last year, but where did he struggle? He struggled with the short to intermediate. He struggled with the middle of the field stuff. You're not going to get that with Bo. Like Bo's sizable. Like if you have a chance to be out here in the morning as they get ready to run up the tunnel, you watch Bo come out. He's tall. It's a drastic difference night and day in terms of height between Russell Wilson, Bo Nix, but also Bo, that's his game. Bo has worked on all of those things to become a quarterback, to become a first-round pick. Like that's something that's got him here. And, of course, 61 career starts. There's been some time for him to evolve as a freshman to where he was at last year in Eugene, but the best part of where he's at, I think, is in a good system. I think he's got good players around him right here, young players. Look, you have 4 proven wide receivers, in my opinion, on this. No, 3 proven on this roster. That's Cortland, that's Tim, that's Josh Reynolds. Marvin Mims going to be more prominent. He's talented, but we don't know what he is exactly yet at that position. And then you have his college teammate Troy Franklin, who's got a lot of chemistry with. That's going to help him. And then you have size at the tight end position. Now, the biggest thing is, can the personnel pieces stay healthy? Can key guys on the offensive line stay healthy? They did a great job of that last year, but I think you are going to see if Denver is just maybe even in 2 games better with their quarterback play and efficiency, they will win 10 games this year, in my opinion. I don't see them being worse than what they were last year. So for me, I think a lot is riding on it. Is Bo going to maybe start right away? Maybe not. I mean, but then if Stidham gets the start, there's so much pressure on him on a weekly basis, because the moment the offense sputters out or goes 3 and out, 2 times in a row, the fan base is going to get a little uneasy, right? And I don't know if Shawn wants that. So I think even if it's close, it goes to Bo.
Absolutely, because what you're talking about is right. Zach Wilson is not in the equation. He is a lawn dart the Broncos
he's
threw
getting
on
the first looks today, but
that doesn't mean very much, obviously. And
that'll change.
You're really talking about Stidham, who's a free agent after the season, and you're exactly right. Again, the reason there's not a competition here, and it is going to be Bo Nix's job, is not that he was the top pick, not that the Broncos for months indicated he was going to be the top pick. The smokescreen from McCarthy was always exactly that, as we told you right here on this program. But the point you made is important, because you're going to hear people around town talk about the quarterback competition, and that's one of the reasons that they're not. You broke it down really well, because if Jarrett Stidham were to somehow start week 1 for whatever reason, right? It's all about when does Nix start. And so Stidham is really doomed from the get-go the second that he starts a game, because the second he slips up, the fan base, after 7 losing seasons, is immediately going to clamor for a change.
Yeah.
So you might as well take the guy that you've invested in, and you might as well just go ahead and throw him in and see if he can sink or swim. This idea that came from Aaron Rodgers, quite frankly, that you have a top quarterback, that then you sit behind another guy, and that somehow makes you better by osmosis, because Brett Favre was not teaching Aaron Rodgers. It doesn't
Denver
happen.
doesn't have Aaron Rodgers. Denver doesn't have Alex Smith on the roster right now.
Right. And you look at the quarterbacks that have succeeded in the league, it's not the ones that sat. And don't ask me, ask Peyton Manning, when he was honored by the Mazzella Institute just this last month, said specifically, starting immediately and taking the lumps. And he had a bad rookie year, is critically important to the way you develop your career. You have to find out if you can tread water before you can swim. And to do that, you have to throw them in. The Broncos right now, their over-under on the season is 5.5, Nate.
Easy over.
The expectations are, well, let's talk about that a little bit. But Nate and I might see it differently. But regardless, the expectations for the Broncos are really low. And so this is the opportunity to put Nix in. The Broncos fans understand there's going to be a period in which it's going to acclimate for Nix. There's no reason not to start him unless for whatever reason he's injured. It doesn't help Stidham. It doesn't help Wilson. It doesn't help the Broncos. This is Nix's job.
I mean, and here's the thing, too, and I think Broncos fans need to also talk themselves in the idea, like, if he struggles as a rookie, who cares?
Who cares?
Let him take his lumps.
Exactly
let him
right.
learn, because the best way to learn is by getting reps, getting experience. And I know people are going to say, well, if he doesn't look good right away, then that means it was a bust. Like, that's because social media is around. Like, Peyton Manning would have been a bust his rookie year if social media was around. It would have been more vocal than it was.
A laundry list of quarterbacks.
So many QBs, right? And it's like, I remember Patrick Mahomes, his rookie season in preseason, all he did was throw interceptions, and everyone's like, wow, they got a bust here. So we got to stop writing these narratives so quick. Let it play out. You got to take your lumps along the way. That's about growing. It's not just in football. It's also the same thing in life.
Yeah, this to me is a no-brainer. Fans, and the thing is, like, look, I think there are some stupid fans out there. I'm sorry, there's some stupid fans out there. But I also believe that a fan base that has enjoyed the success and, frankly, the spoiled nature of some of the Broncos fans, I do think that what comes with that, though, is, yes, they have high expectations because of history, okay? But I also think that what that does in terms of the success that they've had is it sets you up for an understanding of what success can look like and an understanding that it has a runway. I think fans, if they recognize progress, if they recognize forward momentum that comes out of a combination of Sean Payton and Bo Nix, that the actual wins and losses won't matter.
Yeah.
I firmly believe that. Yes, I do think there are some fans that are going to be stupid enough to take to social media and drop a lot of toxic messaging. But I don't believe that it's going to be something that is universally felt. I think it's going to be the fringe that decides to be vocal and to be kind of a-holes, if we're going to be honest, and that it's the rest of the fan base that will recognize what you just pointed out, and that is he making progress?
Yeah.
If he throws that particular interception, does he do it again in the next game, or did he actually pick up and learn and was smart enough to throw it out of bounds?
Yeah.
Yeah, that ends up being the question. And we'll talk more about Bo Nix, and we'll check in with Cody Roark every single day to start off every single one of these shows live from Broncos camp. Thanks a lot for joining us, Cody.
Yes, sir.
Give him a follow on social for all the latest as well.
He's got to go like watch and take notes and stuff.
Take notes.